Miles, a question about what kind of sonars Hercules is using as we're going up.
Something stocked right there
Yeah,
down
there's
below.
a going.
We can
We'll
look
go
at
back
that.
to that.
Okay, push in, Wayne.
Pushing in.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like coral.
Uh-huh.
Now, is that a primnose or a bamboo?
Any thoughts, Steve?
Looks almost like it was.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay,
Do you want it?
Sure.
Okay,
let's take it.
come full wide, please. Full.
Coming for wide.
It's a pretty thick stalk. Looks like the top is knocked off or something.
My tentative ID is like something related to a bubblegum coral, but we'll see, like a paragorgia, but it's unbranched, which is very unusual.
Slurping or
Slurping. Can you line me up on jar 3?
full wide.
Do we have time to have a quick zoom and get some images of it?
I can do it in the jaws only.
All right.
Okay, zoom in, please, Wayne.
Zooming in.
That's a lot smaller than I thought it was.
Ooh, yikes. Actually, come wide a sec.
Come wide.
Full wide, full.
Oh yeah, it looks bubblegummy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Such a change when the polyps pull in.
Okay, zoom in again.
Do you want to just collect the rock or
Zoom in, please.
zooming in?
Ugh.
Great.
Okay,
Nice.
come wide.
Coming wide. Full wide.
Thanks, Trevor.
It's not sampled yet.
Hop ahead, get a little extra tether, and then we'll get into the bio box. Or into the slurp jars.
Little those tuning
Thanks,
kit
Jake. You know the
things.
drill.
Little coral. There's that crine. That's a crinoid.
There's a
Something floating.
jelly. Oh no, it's tethered.
Yeah, they want to
That's
stalk
tethered, yeah.
Yeah, tunicate.
tunicate or a sponge.
We got a
Okay, zoom in, please, Wayne.
zooming in.
Did you need to zoom on it too, Suna?
Full zoom, Wayne.
Full zoom. More? Oh, okay. You want an image. Okay.
Thank you, you're good.
Okay, come out a little bit there.
Coming out.
Interesting to see those polyps be able to, fully retract. Totally change its appearance.
Yeah.
We're in bucket 3, correct?
Jake, is that right? Bucket 3?
Yeah, bucket 3.
There you go.
Okay, go ahead. 40, 50%, something like that. Okay, come full wide, Wayne.
Full wide.
Really does look like transporter.
Where is it?
There it
There
is.
it is.
Okay.
Sampled.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
There's our Trevor.
2 for 4 today.
Really good in baseball.
Getting the ratio up. Okay,
Yeah.
bumping.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You flushing now? And I'll take front porch again too, please.
There we
It's classic Argus doing like just hanging out, not doing much, or doing 3 things at once.
go. Classic Argus.
bubble, flush, winch, or sit and chill.
There. No. Just rock. Oh, little fish. Argus.
Yeah.
Nice one. So for the viewer question, we are not mapping with the sonar while we're transiting up the mounds, but we do have a couple sonars on the vehicles that are in play right now that are giving ops information. Miles, do you want to talk about what we're using sonar-wise right now?
We got 2 Mesotechs, we got a USBL, we got a DVL, we got an Edge Tech.
And then explain what some of those are.
Sea Prince, sub-bottom. Yeah, sub-bottom on Argus. The Mesotechs are 360 scanning sonars, sort of our situational awareness ones. The Edge Tech is close range, forward-looking situational awareness. Side to side.
That's the.
Oh, sorry, Sea Prince.
Oh, there's a fish.
USBL is our tracking
Zoom on the fish.
echo sounder. So, all in all, used collectively, you know, provides good navigational and situational awareness, so we don't hit cliffs.
Look at those polka dots.
Bazazitas, maybe?
Stop coming at me.
Doing the classic turn its back on you.
Yeah. Classic fish butt. Okay, come wide.
Very
Okay,
nice.
coming wide. Wide.
Happy Canada Day to all of our viewers tuned in with us. It's great to have you here on the seafloor. Send your questions in for the team. Happy to intersperse them around our operational conversation here as we climb up Dragon's Back Seamount. Got a couple goals on this dive. One is to collect rock samples that can help us better understand the formation of this feature, constrain the age a little bit by doing some radiometric dating of the basalt. We also are collecting biological samples as informed by our biological co-lead scientist for the expedition, Steve Oskovich, and in that way trying to understand what organisms may be unique to this area, or when we are particularly surprised by seeing species that we can't identify or are unfamiliar within this depth range.
Needlefish in the upper right.
This depth range or this
I can go
area.
look at him.
Okay.
We're still trying to identify fishes, correct? Take that as a yes. Go ahead and zoom.
Zooming.
Got the halosaur?
It's a halosaur, looks like.
Halosaurus rex.
Or it doesn't have the duckbill, yeah.
Looks like that shaped face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hi, halosaur.
It's an amazing
A
tail.
little saddle patch on it.
Yeah.
It's like,
All right,
this
come
is my
wide.
new ink. I
Coming
just
wide.
got this.
Thanks.
Thank you, Trevor.
My new ink.
Bump.
So our video data here is going to be one of the really key data deliverables for this. So hello to all the future scientists that are watching this back and listening to us in 6 months,
They have us muted.
12 months, yeah, 6 years, 10 years, looking back at this.
Oh. Shout out to 2029.
Yeah, 2029 thesis.
Lasers are on something.
Sorry?
There's a crinoid to the right.
There was something growing on that.
Oh, and another
but
fish.
It's not exciting.
Not excited.
But there is something just
Yeah,
Fluffy
there's
one there and
to the
ebony.
right. Yeah.
anemone or something.
Another of those stock tunicates.
Just
Something off the left there too, mid.
Oh,
Is that just
Anemone?
another
looks,
anemone?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it looks.
Zoom in on
sorry.
him. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, another anemone.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
one
Or
of
is
those
that
little light balls on the ends of its
Yeah, I
tentacles.
like that. Little pom-poms.
Uh-huh.
Wait, come wide again.
looks
Come
like
wide.
looks like it's directing traffic.
Go this way.
You know, like like the flaggers that back planes up from the airport.
Yeah.
You are clear for takeoff. The current is going this direction.
It's really strong.
It's a civil servant, an enemy, helpful to its other creatures.
Part anemone, part windsock.
That's its superpower. An enemy by day, windsock also by day. Not able to clear a building in a single bound. Mostly live in
Yeah,
here
there's
on my
there's
home.
the
Coral
Left.
right there.
Zoom in, please.
I
Zooming
think
in.
there's a couple of coral here.
I see the one.
There's one to the left,
One
and there's
above
one
it.
just above it too.
Okay, keep going. Come on, do it.
Oh, beautiful. Really delicate one.
Black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one above it. Let's see if we can find that one too.
Are you?
Okay, coming wide.
Sure.
To the right a little bit. There it
Oh,
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it
Mm.
the same one? I mean, same
Looks-
style.
Same style.
Sorry, same flavor.
It's brother and sister.
Is that a Chrysogorgia then, maybe?
Yeah, this is, I think the last watch said they took a sample of this. It's a Chrysogorgia. It's called Pleurogorgia.
Awesome.
That's great.
Is that one
It's
a little
pretty.
beat
Okay,
up?
coming wide.
All right.
Wide.
Good, okay. Question from Vienna. Thanks for writing in and following along with us. If Gina, do you want to answer this one? If we bring samples up from the deep, do we see obvious ways that these samples are impacted by changing depth, by changing pressure?
Not necessarily, no. They, as long as we keep them in water, they pretty much look like we see them underwater. But once you
Mhm.
put them out of water, they usually very fast change colors and
Yeah.
structures.
I think a lot of people are familiar with
Coral
like,
to the left there.
Yeah.
yeah, with
Zoom in, please,
barotrauma.
Wayne.
Zoom in.
It's doing its windsock impersonation.
Yeah.
Zoom in, please, Wayne.
Zooming in, sorry.
The temperature of the water is also kind of important.
Bolus.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow,
That's
that's
interesting
really
one.
different.
I think we
We had one
sampled that
sampled, yeah.
yesterday.
All right. Come
Okay.
wide.
Coming wide.
It looks like a friendship bracelet or something, like big beads
Friendship
of polyps.
Yeah, Steve was telling us how those little balls are just a bunch
Little
of
fish
polyps.
down
I
there
think it was a
too.
primnoid, not sure.
Back to the sampling question, I think a lot of people are familiar with barotrauma in fish, fish that live, you know, as far as to our measurement here, as you know, a lot of people's recreational fishing, you know, rockfish that you pull up from, you know, a couple hundred meters, 100 meters, a couple hundred meters, that pressure change is very big if you're a fish that has a pressure-filled space, for the same reason why scuba divers have to pay particular attention to the physics of
Oh, yeah.
the partial pressures and pressures of air that you consume while you're crossing those first few gradients. But because we are also an organism with an air-filled space, our ears, our lungs. But a lot of these organisms down here don't have air-filled spaces. They are either, you know, have hydrostatic skeletons for the echinoderms,
Zoom in, please.
Zooming in.
Yeah.
no internal air spaces on these corals. Dead sponge?
Just an old dock or something.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah.
I think Steve is interested in sampling if we see one of those primnoids again, the ones you said Look like a bracelet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roger, come wide, please.
Wide.
Interested in sampling a bracelet.
Yeah.
Roger.
Sounds like somebody forgot to buy a present.
Steve, viewer wants to know why the rocks look sort of bubbly. Could you talk a little bit about the texture or about these rocks in general?
Bridge, nav. 2 more
I
steps.
think you wanted to say Rob.
Oh no, did I say Steve again? I'm sorry,
I want to hear
Rob.
what you have to say.
Hey,
I don't
Rob.
think you want me to do that.
No, this is great. I want Steve to give me a complex rundown of the evolutionary history of chrysogorgias, and then I would like Steve to give me a complex rundown of basalt textures.
Yeah. No, I think these are
Ready,
just,
switch.
these are just lobate flows of pillows, and that's just a texture you get when it hits water. And so you kind of get these little bumpy textures on it.
Is that the same kind of texture that you see on lava flows on land?
Not necessarily. You might see something like that, but it's usually more of a water rock interaction, lava-water interaction.
Interesting. Is it a factor of the relative speed at which they cool, you know, that being kind of like quenched immediately by really cold water?
Yeah, I think that's a good part of it.
Yeah.
And how much of the flow is coming out, how voluminous it is.
Okay. Good questions, viewers. Keep sending them in. Another question, why are corals at this depth so much smaller than shallow water corals? I don't think that is an equally true generalization to make. We have seen some corals that are very large, like the size of, as wide as Hercules, already on some of these dives, which, you know, is like minivan size for some of these. Okeanos Explorer found massive coral colonies, and it's just a factor that we haven't run into those communities here yet. We're deeper than we've been diving in some of our other sites, and that's on purpose. An interesting question to kind of climb along a whole depth gradient and see where we start seeing what different types of corals. As far as how large the communities are, that's a factor of how old they are. It's also just species by species. Some grow to be very large colonies, and some are just more constrained. Could be a factor of the oxygen availability in the water, or the amount of the nutrient availability, the steadiness of the nutrient availability, so how much marine snow is raining down from above, what's the productivity in the shallow waters, and what are the kind of microbial processes along the way. As you could imagine, a bunch of food starting to rain down at the top of the ocean, but it gets eaten and processed and consumed a couple times down by different types of recyclers before it reaches the seafloor. So many different things go into, and many more factors that we probably don't even understand yet go into where we're finding corals and then how large those coral
There's something
communities
off
are
the
growing.
left here.
To the left, I see it there. Little floaty thing.
Yep.
It's really little.
Right up
It's
now.
tiny.
Okay, please zoom in.
Zooming in.
No, it's yeah, not the one to the left. It's up to the right now.
Oh, I didn't see it.
That's the stalked tunicate.
Oh, the feathery one?
Yeah.
Oh, there it
Look.
is. Yep.
Directly above?
Yep.
Okay, zooming in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Look at these currents. This is incredible.
It's pretty sporty current, yeah.
Just a little one.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Wow.
What are you?
It looks like it has some growth on it, like
Yeah.
it's not active.
Yeah. Okay, come wide.
Come wide. Bumping.
A couple
Wide.
more right there.
Oh, there's a stop.
You have a good eye, Rob.
That's about it.
Just
No
one.
long, no long
Great,
division.
great comeback. Long
One
division.
good eye.
Only short division.
Oh no.
Bridge, nav. 2 more steps.
Do you guys know, have we logged any trash sightings during any of these dives?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I have seen none.
I've seen none.
Little trash talking.
Yeah.
Lots
Plenty
of trash talk.
Lots of trash talking. It doesn't go in the science log. That just
Silly
stays.
Wayne
Are
making
you
fun of my
sure?
superpower.
That just stays recorded on YouTube forever.
Reducing our average.
Do you often see trash?
Yeah, the West Coast is averaging 2 trash observations per dive.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was gonna say I don't think I've
Wow.
ever been on an expedition where we didn't see trash on the
There's a
seafloor.
Yeah.
Tunicate there, or sponge on
So-
a stick.
We are very remote from humans.
Mm-hmm.
Another little
Yeah.
floaty.
So
Oh,
That-
yep, there's one.
it'd be something I'd really
Right
keep
in
in.
the center.
Be
What do you
interested.
see?
Right in the center.
Right above there's a floaty.
Oh, a floaty thing.
Just
Yeah.
A stocked floaty.
Stock floaty.
Just above the
Thingamabob.
All right. Go ahead and zoom in.
Okay, zoom in. It also has growth on it. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Had be-
Stock
had better
tunicate
days.
there.
These currents are amazing.
It's really messing up my smoothness.
sorry.
It's not bad actually right now.
Where are we, miles sort of up this slope? Are we midway? Are we
Okay,
Wide.
coming
a
wide.
quarter of the way? Kind of how exposed are we on this particular
We're about
element
halfway.
of the slope? Okay. Hmm.
You know, that lack of trash is a big reason why these islands are protected, because they are really unique in their remoteness and kind of give us a baseline of what things should be like without all the anthropogenic impacts that we see close to the mainland.
Great point. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, few things would make me happier than finishing this whole expedition with no trash locks.
That'd be really amazing.
It'd be a really interesting thing to note, especially on a continuous profile. If we're able to go 3,000 meters to 500 meters up Jarvis, that would be really cool. Are there people on Jarvis?
No, there are no people on Jarvis right now.
Ooh, there's a
Have there been people living on
So,
Jarvis in the past?
Anemone?
anemone. Yeah, it's an anemone.
There were people back in the early 1900s when Hawaii was kind of claiming it for statehood. Oh, I guess that was more close to World War II in the 1940s, I think.
Okay.
There were a group of Hawaiians, actually I think they were from Kamehameha School in Hawaii, that lived on the island for a while. And
Amazing.
they stayed, and I think it was Jarvis where, oh wait, no, it might have been Helen and Baker. One of the islands, they were actually attacked by Japanese, and one of them was killed, the rest taken prisoner for a while.
Oh, whoa.
So then they evacuated them all off the islands.
Hmm.
So it was a whole effort to kind of claim these islands by having people living on them for a while.
I think to the left of the laser, the dark area, is that a stalk?
Oh yeah, there's something moving there. Really low profile though.
Let me know if you want me to slow down.
No, I'm doing okay. Got a lot of current here now.
Yeah.
I'm at a steady 70% lateral to port. This is how fast I'm moving.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if I let off,
Oh, I see. You're gonna let the current take you by it?
no, I'm just observing
Oh, okay.
how fast it is.
Right now in the Pacific remotes, we only have people really on 2 islands for any length of times. One is Palmyra, where we have a permanent research station
Mhm.
that we co-manage with the Nature Conservancy. And we have people on there doing studies on the atoll and doing conservation work. They've removed a big shipwreck out there. They eradicated rats on the island. Right now there's a big project to
All good?
take out the coconuts that were planted for copra farming and then bring back the native rainforest ecosystem.
Did you get that in 3 minutes?
And then we also have
Did you get that
people
in 3
on
minutes?
Johnson.
Oh, that's nice.
But Johnson are told there's a problem right now with yellow crazy ants, which are an ant species that was introduced, but they are attacking the seabirds. So we're trying to remove the crazy ants.
Did Palmyra have ants before that? Were there ants there?
Yes, Palmyra does have ants, and Johnson, I'm not sure if Johnson had ants, but this yellow crazy ant is one that we've had problems with. It's an introduced species, so it hasn't really evolved on the island, and it's one that can attack animals. And we have a lot of seabirds that nest on the ground, so it's particularly a problem in all of our seabird colonies with those ground nesting birds.
Sure, it makes a lot of sense.
I remember reading sometime that if a new island comes up, say a volcano erupts and it breaks through the surface of the ocean, that one of the first species of anything to show up is spiders. Is that true? Anyone know that?
I don't know about that. You have a lot of stuff that rafts to islands.
Yeah.
So things that can live on those rafts for long periods of times are some of the first things that come, animal-wise.
There's a big coral right top middle or top right.
I've heard from
Let's go look
some
at that.
scientists in Galapagos. They explained that a lot of the species of spiders that they
Zoom in,
had
please.
were the type that make sails
Like
out
the
of
one we
their.
got already. It's a black coral.
Bathypathes.
Mm-hmm. Bathypathes with nice viroid on it.
Okay.
All right, come wide.
Coming wide.
So the spiders make sails and sail across the ocean?
Yeah, they make
Yeah, they
sails
can
with their
balloon.
spider silk.
Cool. Crazy.
They usually do that right after hatching, though, when they're
Yeah,
really
bump
Still
tiny.
little.
Sorry, bump.
Nice.
Wow, that's a crazy superpower.
Yeah.
Not judging superpowers,
No, just appreciating the
just
spectrum.
impressed.
Yeah.
I'd like to have the superpower
Retrograde?
of not
Yep.
judging.
That would be
At
a
all.
great. Aw, how that's nice.
I'd like to have the superpower of tolerating bad jokes.
Aw, gross. This. Very kumbaya, everyone. Very good.
Yeah, I don't think there's any sarcasm there at all.
No, I think that's nice.
He's looking at it.
Your jokes have no power on me.
George, you want to hold position, and then we'll restart.
So welcome to Nautilus Live. If you're just tuning in, you are watching footage from remotely operated vehicles, Hercules and Argus. If you're watching on the Channel 1 feed, that's the main HD camera, what we call the Zeus camera, facing forward out of the center of the ROV, looking at Dragon's Back seamount. If you're watching on Channel 2, if you click over to that option or open another tab, you've got perspective from ROV Argus, which is a clump weight style ROV. It is a kind of the helicopter eyes in the sky, and it is decoupling the motion of the ship, so it is moving up and down on a rigid tether from the ship that we are all sitting on, and keeping Hercules isolated from that motion by having a secondary tether. We are not inside these vehicles right now. We are inside two modified shipping containers that are welded together on the top deck of exploration vessel Nautilus, a 211-foot-long ship out in the Central Pacific. We are not in there because...
Do you see the one to the right?
The one to the right. Negative.
I think my eyes were playing jokes on
Yeah,
me.
there really are these odd.
Yeah, sorry.
There's
sorry.
funny shadows and
Yeah.
funny things that really are tricky.
Sorry.
No problem. I was just saying the great thing about deploying remotely operated vehicles rather than sending any people down to the seafloor is that Hercules and Argus don't need to eat, sleep, go to the bathroom, caffeinate, any of the things that are important for keeping us as a science team, as an operational team here, doing our best work and moving forward. So this dive is planned to be between 24 and 28 hours long, and we stand a rotating 4 on, 8 off watch schedule up here. So the people each work for 4 hours here, broadcasting in the control room, driving the ROVs, communicating with the bridge, controlling the cameras, making the science observations, answering questions from the world, and then we trade in and out with the other 2 watch teams. 12 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12.
You can add attempting to entertain with bad jokes.
Yeah. The occasional. Keep people on their toes. Letting you into our world here. So Jake, a question for you. People are wondering how you got on board the ship and how you got started in your role. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Like how I found out about the program?
Yeah.
Well, I go to school at URI and I study ocean engineering.
What's URI stand for?
URI is the University of Rhode Island, and they are an affiliate of the Ocean Exploration Trust, I'd say.
Yeah, we have some offices on that campus.
And a couple of my professors know about or worked with the program, and that's how I found out. I was encouraged to apply, and I applied for the ROV engineering intern position, and I ended up getting it. That's kind of how that went down.
Nobody else
Nothing much
applied.
else to it. No one else applied. Yeah, I was the only one.
I can verify that is not true. Yeah.
There were
couldn't
millions
find
of
anybody else
applicants,
who was
and I was the
interested.
best one.
Best out of millions.
Able to intercept the mail.
One of one.
Do you have advice you would give to someone following, whether just a few years or, somebody, a young explorer interested in following your footsteps?
Definitely apply. I was thinking about it for a couple of years, and the first 2 years I didn't, and then just this last year, I figured, why not? It's always been something I wanted to do, so I ended up, yeah.
Fantastic.
It ended up working out for you.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Very good. Yeah.
But I think, you can't underestimate, that is such a big point, You were thinking about it. You knew about the program for a couple of years, but it wasn't like anybody came and, knocked on your front door and just said, hey, we heard you've been thinking about this. Do you want to come out on the ship? The action all started from you applying, from you putting yourself out there.
Yeah. And definitely reach out to people who know the program and who have worked with it. That's what I ended up doing. Some of the professors who I knew worked with the program, but I didn't really know, specifically. I didn't know them first name basis. I introduced myself and talked to them, and they ended up helping me get in. So.
Yeah, I think that's so important for all internships, because I know there were some internships I really from a distance was totally convinced would be awesome for my pathway, and then had I applied and gotten them, they turned out weren't exactly the program that I kind of thought they were, and where it ultimately would have been a better fit for someone else. And so that's just a really key step. Go in there, ask those questions. Ask people who've had the internship before, if you have a chance to chat with them about what they took away from it, what they learned, how it met their expectations, especially, a lot of these, just so many fields now and in the future are going to be increasingly interdisciplinary. So sometimes, what angle you approach an opportunity from can be really key.
So Jake, you're driving Argus now. How much experience did you have before this cruise driving ROVs?
Absolutely zero.
I think that's incredible.
And scary.
And incredible.
And scary.
Jake, you're doing a great job.
Jake's going to take over Nautilus Live's Instagram story in a couple days, so tune in if you want a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to be Jake on board.
What it's like to be Jake.
Yeah. the theme of my takeover is
What is that
a
just to the
day in
left
the
there,
life
Trevor?
of Jake.
Yeah, that
What is that?
C
Let's
shape.
Check it out. Go ahead and zoom.
I was noticing the same thing. The C-shaped.
Palm frond or what?
What are you?
I hope it's not our first trash.
No, it's
Oh.
not.
No.
It belongs here.
It's a something.
Hold on. There we go.
Looks spongy.
Colonized, yeah.
Well, it has growth on it, like.
Yeah, there's polyps. You can see distinct polyps down at the bottom and then sponge lower down. Huh.
Looks like a big shell.
What in the
I
world?
really can't tell.
Wondering if it's just something that's dead with other things encrusting on it.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looks
Mhm.
like. Something that populated it.
Interesting.
Thank you, Trevor.
Mystery frond. If you want to check out a different behind-the-scenes look, our navigation intern who's on board right now from the U.S. Coast Guard Academy is taking over the Nautilus Live Instagram story today. So check out Chris Jake's perspective around the ship for 24 hours.
Kylie had a good one yesterday too.
Yeah. Argus pilot Kylie Pasternak took over yesterday, so this content disappears after 24 hours, but you have the chance to go see some of her behind-the-scenes peeks as well. Also, if you're not following Nautilus on social media, highly recommend that you do. It's a great way to stay up to date with all the highlights that we push out. Facebook Nautilus Live or Twitter at EV Nautilus. It's where we send our dive alerts. So never miss a dive with us if you follow us on Twitter. You can even set up an alert so you'll be notified anytime we tweet out a dive alert. You can also sign up for our newsletters on Nautilus Live. Those are a great way to keep in touch if you're interested in our education programs. If you are a science communicator of any type, a classroom educator.
Looks like there's a sponge right there to the, or is that a?
Or
Yeah.
a coral?
Go ahead,
Zoom
tourniquet.
lasers now. Yeah.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom,
Yeah,
zoom,
it's another one of the
zoom.
stock things.
Yeah.
Tunicate?
It's stalked.
That looks like the one you got earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh.
A little bit like it.
All right, come wide.
Coming wide.
Yeah, so if you want to be a science communication fellow, if you want to be an intern aboard Nautilus or participate in our Scientist Ashore program, follow us, like the page, sign up for the newsletter. You will be in touch on all our channels.
There's one just
Yeah.
by the lasers.
Go ahead,
now.
zoom.
There's a bunch of those.
Same one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It looks like a
Wait, come wide again.
rose shape.
Yeah, they do. So Jake, since this is your first time with ROVs, is it your first time at sea? Had you gone offshore before?
A couple months ago,
Mhm.
I went out on URI's research vessel.
Was it
the
overnight?
Endeavour. Yes. We actually went out twice. So we went out 3 days at the end of March, and
Mhm.
then 2 weeks later, we went out for another 3 days.
Awesome.
And that was, we
How's-
deployed some whale monitoring buoys.
What kind of whales are you listening for?
Well, all whales, but specifically North Atlantic right whales, because
Is that
they're
a dead fish?
species of concern, endangered.
Yeah, is that?
and
What is
They're
that?
Where?
found off the coast of Rhode
Off
Island.
to the
Where are you
right.
looking?
There's a white
Just
one.
Illusion.
Yeah, it was an illusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Illusion of a dead fish.
Right
There
there.
is a
We had the
coral.
same
Yeah, it was
illusion
the
with
sand.
Rob.
Yeah.
But there is a
Stalked something.
Yeah.
stock something
Stock
just to
something.
the right.
Zoom in on the stock something, please.
Zooming in. on the stalk. Oh, something.
Is it no longer? Or no,
it
there's something
spongy?
on it.
Yeah,
Sponge.
some
Is
with
it
some encrusting
crinoid
sponge
on
over
it?
it. There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, yeah,
Brittle
Looks
star.
That looks an old stock.
Jinx Luna.
That current is really going. Holy
Yeah.
moly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel it, Trevor?
I feel it a lot. Yeah, I have to. So usually when I zoom in, I turn down what's called a joy gain, which means my joysticks only work to 50% of the way or whatever, and it allows me to do a lot more smooth
Wow.
zooms. But this one, in order to stay in one spot, I still have to be at, what am I at, 86% right now?
Wow.
Go ahead and zoom on that one too.
Okay, zooming.
So that makes, just to battle the current, and it makes all my movements a little less smooth.
Wow.
That's cool. That's a different kind. That just has one sort of
Yeah.
osculum, one opening.
Yeah, he's definitely got the wind sock superpower going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Jake, I'm gonna throw this one to you. Question for a viewer: what's a surprising thing about living on a ship? Are there things that are different than what you expected they might be?
The food is actually very, very good, at least with my experience so far. But
Yeah.
especially when I was at school, you know, I'm eating pretty bland, you know, chicken rice every day at home.
Yeah.
You know, gotta live cheap. But then we went out on the ship, and you know, we're eating luxurious. You know, we're eating some pretty good food every day, 3 meals. You know,
Plus cookie time.
yeah,
Plus sheet cake.
yeah.
And birthday cake. Oh my
And
gosh.
oh yeah.
There's still like a quarter of a birthday cake. I'm counting on you, Jake. You got to take
Throw
it
a pound
down.
of Skittles.
You got to take it down.
Pound Skittles. And pinata candy.
I think that was the largest birthday cake I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. They take great care of us out here.
Another sea cucumber?
Just
Or
doing it.
Yeah.
Great.
Or is it just a shadow?
I'm not sure what I'm seeing anymore.
Yeah, I know these shadows are really.
They're really tough.
If I had $1 for everything I misidentified or went chasing.
Looks like there is another one of those floaty tuna kits right above us. The light.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
see it.
There's coming more.
And there's
common now.
one to the
There's two
right.
of 'em,
Yeah, one to the left, one to the right.
Yeah. But there's like a purple coral there too, or is that?
Coral. Where do you see
Or am
that?
I right next to the right?
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Or is
behind it.
that?
Go ahead and zoom in.
Okay, zooming in.
Or is that an illusion?
It's an illusion.
It
Oh
was a
my
shadow.
Goodness.
Wow, I
Wow.
saw it too.
This
I
is
feel like
really
we're
messy.
taking crazy pills.
If you had $1
This
for every
texture is
misidentification,
Yeah.
All right, come on.
it'd be
I'd
I'd
have
another.
$1.
I'd have $5.
Did some of those yellow crazy ants come on board or what?
Yeah.
What were in the eggs today?
What were the what?
What was in the eggs today that's making us see this?
Tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, they cherry
Those are
tomatoes.
tomatoes. Yeah.
Bridge. Now 2 more steps.
Special tomatoes.
Um,
There's another piece of something debris there.
That's
Oh,
pretty
and
large.
it's- Yeah, that's another one of those
The C-shaped things.
vine.
Let's zoom in on it.
Isn't
We got
that a
some-
big
Yeah,
piece?
let's
thing.
see if this one can give us a little bit more of a idea of what we're dealing with.
Are
looks
they
like it was
rock?
a
Do they look like
sponge.
they're
Yeah,
they're?
Focus looks good.
Crust.
Or is it?
It looks yeah.
Pull out.
Just wondering
Yeah.
if it's
This looks like
terrestrial.
a pillow. I mean,
Yeah, it looks like a shell of a pillow basalt. This
Yeah.
one, right?
Oh,
Like a half bubble popped
Yeah.
or something.
lava tube.
I can't
All
tell.
right, come wide.
Yeah.
Coming wide. Oh, I am wide. You got me in there. Right up to the action.
So we've named this seamount Dragon's Back Seamount, and the path we have up it, the dive track we have, has kind of a few lobes, sort of almost a scalloped rise up the seafloor, or up the side of the seamount. We're on the third of those, I guess, scoots. But I really like it. It's almost, almost like scaly basalt texture. We call it that. And we talked a little about the pebble texture. If folks have more questions, Rob, would you talk a little about why we're seeing that or what that is?
The scaliness?
Mm-hmm.
No, it just is the lava cools. I mean, on the work we've done on mid-ocean ridges, the pillows actually have some even more extreme little ornaments on them, as we call them.
Okay.
The little protuberances and things that stick up, and we kind of use those to date how young the basalt is when it's
Zoom in
very
there,
young.
please. What's this thing?
And because those things will fall off very quickly after a while.
Oh,
Zoom
sorry.
in, please.
But this
Sorry.
texture, I think, is just as it came out, and it the way it cooled. And you can see very closely right there, looks like little round mounds on top of the basalt.
Two translucent things
And it's
there.
accentuated because of the, I'm not sure if that's sediments or biology that's kind of growing in the low areas around those.
Okay, come wide.
Coming wide.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
A little lava tube off to the left.
Mm-hmm. Tim, folks want to know about your, welcome to your first experience on Nautilus. What are your thoughts? Anything that's surprised you or different than you expected?
Yeah, I think the bottom has been surprising for me. I really had no idea what to expect, and we're seeing quite a diversity of different things. I did think we were going to see more fish, which is kind of maybe just my lack of knowledge of deep sea, but also we have a big submersible that's probably scaring things off as well, as we saw that big cloud of sand as something escaped in the distance. But it's been just really interesting, since I do so much stuff in the photic zone, to be able to see this deep sea environment and how different it is down here.
Absolutely. I remember coming on Nautilus my first time and, feeling really confident in a lot of my ocean knowledge and my training, my experiences in the field and helping different organizations run operations, and then just feeling like, sorry for the pun, but completely out of my depth, just experiencing everything all brand new again.
Yeah, same here.
But a great
I
opportunity
think the
also.
lasers just crossed over something.
Oh, that little
To the
Yeah,
left.
they're crying
It
out.
looks like it has some arms right above the lasers. No.
Oh, yeah.
Push in.
Go ahead.
Pushing in.
Wow, great eyes. I did not know what we were coming in on. Crinoid?
Well,
Itty bitty crinoid?
actually, the one under it is the
Yeah,
one
what
that
is
I
that?
noticed.
Down below. Directly below now.
Hold on, coming out, coming wide.
The translucent or
Yeah.
the clear to the left? Or the white to the left?
This guy?
Is that what we're all looking at?
Well, we're all looking at different things now.
Yeah, we are. I'm like,
I was looking above to the left.
There's like stock crinoid there too.
Yeah, there is.
yeah,
Everywhere. All sorts of stuff.
all kinds of itty bitties.
Okay, come wide.
Coming wide. Okay. But that whole structure just looked like it was a larger coral that collapsed. I don't know. That's kind of what drew me to that area. I don't know. I guess I get another $1.
Megan, one of the great experiences I thought about coming on board is just that opportunity to learn more about things that I didn't know about, which has been really incredible, from just seeing all the stuff down here on the bottom, but then also, being able to hang out in the data lab as things get processed and talk to people, different scientists, about what they're looking at, and even learning about the ROVs and the whole operation on how to get ROVs launched. So people who do get an opportunity to come out or apply for those internships, I think it really does provide you an opportunity to really go outside of your comfort zone and learn a whole variety of things.
Absolutely.
It's gotten a bit steeper now, isn't it?
Yeah, the contours are pretty close.
Slowly, gradually getting steeper.
Oh, I see.
So we've been seeing sea cucumbers here. They're different from sea pigs. Sea pigs are a kind of sea cucumber, but are primarily found in heavily sedimented basins. Have a different, they look different. They have a different body morphology, different extensions. Their 2 feet or more elongate and look a little more like legs, which is why they have that name, sea pig. Great question coming in about, do these currents deter coral and sponge growth? I don't think we can answer that question. Typically, corals and sponges are found in high current environments because they are stuck in place and are filter feeders. There's generally more food availability if you have a higher current flow past where you cemented yourself down to a rock. But we're also, we're still quite deep. We know there are regions. We don't have it totally
Trevor,
constrained.
right
Why?
to the right. And you're above it in about now. Now go down. May I? And a little lower. And I get $1.
Yeah, there's a sponge off to the right, I think, too. Looks like something was a little bigger. Or is that sediment behind that rock? Yeah.
I'm full wide.
There's a buck to you, too. I thought.
Yeah. Sorry.
Bump, please, Wayne.
Oh, sorry. Bump.
Tim, have you a question about tsunamis known in the area? And I do know Samoa was impacted.
Sorry, spider on the
There's
bottom?
a spider and then a holothurian below it, too. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh,
He's
cool.
drifting. Push in?
Yeah.
Pushing in.
Stock crinoid.
No, that's correct. And a holothurian below it.
Sorry, I only
Okay, come
got
wide.
part of that
Come in wide.
question.
People are interested to know if there have been tsunamis through this area, and I do know there was a tsunami that impacted Samoa not very long ago. Can you talk at all about that?
Yeah, the tsunami that impacted Samoa was in 2009, which was pretty incredible. It came with very little warning, about 15 minutes between the actual earthquake and the tsunami. So it was early morning when people were just starting to go to work, and it came very suddenly, and a number of people got killed just because they weren't able to get away from those low-lying areas and didn't know a tsunami was coming. I was working, that was before I was working for the Park Service, but just the accounts of it, there were people in the building where we had our office, and they just saw the wave come and started running.
Zoom in, please.
Wow.
Zooming in.
Shrimp.
But it's something that people in this area have to live with and be prepared for. Samoa didn't at that point have any warning sirens on island, so it wasn't until after that that they got funding to put those
Okay,
sirens
wide.
in.
Wide.
Wow.
Bump.
How high is the highest point on Samoa?
A couple thousand feet.
Okay.
That would be either Mount Lava or Matafao, can't remember which. Both of them have really nice hiking trails that you can go up to the top and have great views of the island.
Yeah, that tsunami killed 190 people through Samoa, American Samoa, and Tonga. With a 6-meter high wave, in some places reaching 1.6 kilometers inland. So
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. The aftermath, there were boats from the harbor that were just high and dry on land. There was one fishing boat that got plopped down right in the middle of the bingo hall. There was another one that was one in one of the beach parks, another one on the road. So
wow.
these things just got picked up and moved all over the place.
Amazing.
And there's still a number of buildings that were destroyed that are, they've never been able to rebuild.
Hmm.
Looks like someone poured syrup over a ice cream cone. The way the rocks are melting.
Yeah. Yeah, Rob, some questions of why are some of these rocks darker than others? They seem to be the larger ones. Do you think they're having the sediment scoured off of them, or do you have another explanation maybe?
It seems like the other ones that are sticking out more.
Mm-hmm.
Probably sediment free, plus they're kind of like above the background. So I think it has mostly to do with sediment cover, not composition. The holothurian over the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, surprised there are holothurians here. There's as little sediment as it looks like there is.
Yes, if you move slowly enough, there's always more sediment ahead of you.
One of those tunicates.
There's something in that cave.
Shrimp.
Some sediment.
There's a
Little
a
red
fish.
thing.
I think it's a shrimp.
Yeah, it's a shrimp.
No. Just give me my $1.
Oh, there's a plume to the left.
Oh yeah, look at this thing. This is a real thing.
Yes.
Sorry, Wayne. Go ahead and zoom.
Okay. I earned that one. Alright.
The black coral?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, Steve.
Really
Wow.
dense
Looks a bit
polyps.
different.
Parantipithecus.
Parantipithecus.
Yeah. That's pretty.
Okay.
That's not an isocoral?
Is it a black coral, Steve?
Black coral.
Yep.
Black coral.
Steve's gone for lunch.
No, he's writing in.
He's on the jet.
You're an hour off.
And something stalked in the, just below the.
You saw?
Yeah.
Doing a little victory lap.
Yeah, letting you catch up a little bit
Okay.
in case we need to stop or something.
Sure, yeah.
So Rob, what are you looking for in your next rock sample? Viewers want to know.
Well, we just want to try to get a something that looks like relatively fresh on top.
Let's zoom in on this, please.
Mm-hmm.
I think we want to try to get a little bigger ones because
Wow, look at this
take
stalk
up
on
some
that
space
guy.
in some of the larger boxes.
Oh. Okay.
Wow, that one's cool. I
That one's
love
been
those.
Thick.
It's been conditioning its hair.
There's the lasers on it.
Look how long those are.
Wow.
Pretty.
Oh, yeah, they go. I didn't even realize that. They go a long way down.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do.
Look at how far down
Oh,
they
they're
go.
still going.
Yeah.
They don't stop.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, that's crazy.
That's wild. Look at that.
Absolute
me,
plankton nightmare.
Somebody
Okay.
needs a haircut.
Steve says this is
Stuck
real,
tunicate.
really Cantus a newly described order of sea anemones.
Wow, a new order.
This
Not
is?
species, not genus, not family.